Sabbe sankhara anicchati. Sabbe sankhara dukkhati. Sabbe Dhamma anattati. Yada paññāya passati. Atanindindati dukkhe esa maggo visuddhiya. Everything is impermanent. Everything is dissatisfactory. All phenomena are selfless. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to liberation. This is the path to purity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends in Dhamma, now we have come to the final session. First of all, I would like to conclude the sermon and experience. Then you can ask questions too. First, I emphasize the importance of having vision or sammaditthi. Buddha always explained the importance of having vision, sammaditthi, right understanding. That is why Buddha always says, right understanding is first. The reason is that vision is very important. Mission without vision is blind. And also, vision without mission is useless. In this situation, both of them are very important. What is the vision that Buddha says? Vision means understanding the karmic law and especially understanding the dependent origination. Asmin satidam hoti, asmin asatidanna hoti. When this happens. When this is not, this doesn't happen. This is the short message in the dependent origination. And also, finally, we can understand the nature of five aggregates. When we understand something through our senses, the very first experience has already ceased. In short, the forms have already ceased. We are never reached to forms at the present moment. We can experience forms at the present moment, but when we recognize forms, the first experience of the form has already ceased. For example, when we drive a car, we always look at front, but we are on the wheels. But we are unable to see wheels, but we are on the wheel. We always look at front. Like that, when we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, when we touch something, when we taste something, the five senses and five objects have already ceased. That is why Buddha says, Na panchahi viññānehi kenachi dhamma pativijanāti. We are unable to recognize anything through our five consciousnesses. We understand something through our mind consciousness. It doesn't mean that there are not forms in this world. Actually, there are some forms in this world that we receive as the result of our previous actions. But those forms are very instant. We can't depend on, we can't live in forms. When we understand, when we recognize forms, actually forms are Forms have ceased. This is the reality. This is the truth. This is the thing that we are confident in, what the Buddha is understanding. This is the place where I should develop our saddha or confidence. Saddhati tathagatassa bodhi. When we remember something, when we think something, the forms come to our mind automatically. Then, if we are mindful that these forms have already ceased, then we don't depend on anything or anyone outside, even in our body. It means we are in wisdom. When we don't depend on anything or anyone outside, it means nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind, because we have already overcome forms. Whenever we depend on forms, it means we are ignorance. Outside persons and things can control us. They can bring us suffering because we depend on forms. Our success, our spiritual development completely depends on this understanding. Whenever we depend on wisdom, reflecting on impermanence of forms and mind, at the moment we are reflecting on impermanence. It means we don't appreciate anything. We keep an unshakable mind in equanimity. We always come to equanimity, upekha, when we see this reality. For that we should always practice concentration meditation. When mind is concentrated, we should reflect on impermanence as the practice of mindfulness. For concentration and wisdom, we should have good discipline in our speech and behavior. When we go to these three disciplines, we should practice generosity. When we practice generosity, we can receive some visible results. Longevity, good health, good complexion, and especially we receive good friendship, noble association. When we are generous and when we are grateful, we meet good friends who explain the Buddha's message as it is. That is why we need to practice generosity and gratitude. When we are generous and grateful, we can develop our longevity. We can develop our physical health. Having these results, we meet good association. Finally, we understand the message throughout association of good friendship, and understanding this message, day by day we go forward on practicing this path, especially practicing three disciplines: Sila, Samadhi, Panya, discipline, concentration, and wisdom. Finally, we have to practice three characteristics: anicca, dukkha, anatta. Impermanence, suffering, and selflessness. Buddha says, everything is impermanent, everything is dissatisfactory, all phenomena are selfless. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. For that we have to practice mindfulness. Buddha says, practicing mindfulness is the only path for the purification of beings. Ekaya noyam bhikkhu maggo satthana visuddhya. Practicing mindfulness is the only path for the destructions of sorrow and lamentation. Soka paridavana samatikkamaya. Dukkha domanassanam atthangamaya. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for the overcoming of grief and sorrow. And also Nyaya Sadhigamaya. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for the gaining knowledge. and also practicing mindfulness is the only way for the gaining of liberation, for the attaining of liberation, Nibbana Satyakiriyaya. For that, we should dedicate our entire life for the spiritual development, spiritual path. For that, I wish you all the best. Now you can ask question, if any question you have.
Thank you, Bande. Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, all the blessings with you.
So, sisters and brothers, if you wish to ask Bande a question, please use the raise hand function. If you're a little bit shy, but I think we are just 11 people, so you can also type in the chat box. And sometimes they're a little bit shy. Okay, we have Miss Gwen.
Okay. On behalf of them, Miss Yvonne, you can ask some questions.
Yes, Bande. I think, yes. So Miss Gwen, she is opening her mic already.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bante, so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
I very much enjoyed this talk. My question is, when I practice metta meditation, I have the image of the beings or the being, and then usually what will happen after some time practicing the metta, I get either distracted by awareness of suffering, and then this makes it hard to keep practicing the metta, because, for example, if I'm imagining all beings, then I picture the beings, and then with the image of the beings comes just like suffering and sadness for the suffering.
Yes, actually that is why we need vision. I always emphasize the importance of having vision. Our final goal is liberation. We practice loving kindness meditation not for suffering but for concentration. Keep our attention in concentration. If we have this understanding, when suffering arises in our mind, we really understand this suffering is impermanent. And we practice loving kindness not for suffering, but for loving kindness and concentration for our mind. By practicing loving kindness, we spread loving kindness to everyone, and we express our compassion, and also finally we keep our attention in equanimity. Equanimity means we understand that some reasons are not controlled by even the Supreme Buddha. Even though we wish that all beings be well, happy and peaceful, actually we are unable to control something, some conditions in this world. We practice loving kindness not people away from suffering, but for our inner peace, for our inner, getting rid of anger. The purpose of practice loving kindness is that to reduce or overcome our anger. That is why results come to us. As the result of practicing loving kindness, devas are pleased to us. And also, there are some results. All results come to us, not for others. The reason is that we generate metta thoughts in our mind. As the result of practicing loving kindness thoughts, we are able to reduce our anger, and also our heart is very warm when we see people are suffering in this world. Then finally we have the understanding the karmic law. Even Buddha's time, we have heard some reasons, some occasions, some stories that even Buddha couldn't control them, because that is the karmic law. people have to face their karmic results. But if we have something to do for them, we are ready to do them. We do something for them, but always we don't burn out. We always keep our attention. We always are in mindfulness. The reason is that we practice not only loving kindness meditation, but we practice insight meditation too. Especially when we practice breathing meditation, when our mind is angry or when our mind is, complicated, we recognize that now my mind is suffering, my mind is sorrowful, then suddenly we can overcome these unwholesome mental states from our mind. When we are suffering, we are unable to help others. Therefore, first of all, we should be strong with our spirituality. By practicing loving kindness meditation, we wish others success. Sometimes they can get results through our spirituality, but sometimes they are unable to get some results because of their own karma results. Then we become equanimity. However, finally results come to our life. The reason is that we practice loving kindness. We are the people who develop the positive thoughts, metta thoughts. Therefore, our mentality, our spirituality gradually increases. If you have to ask some more, you can ask. It is clear?
It's clear the benefit and also the wisdom of how to practice, but I wonder, like practicing metta with the image of the beings, it will still come up. Maybe it's a lack of concentration. I'm not sure if I lack concentration when I'm practicing metta. So instead of my object being the image of the being, and then this wish for their happiness and for their success, maybe I'm losing my concentration. But it really easily happens that just with the image of the being, that my mind will just
yes, actually it is common when we practice loving kindness. The old people that mention things that actually it comes to our mind. That is very common. That is why we need mindfulness always. Okay? Mindfulness is the situation background. With the foundation of mindfulness, we practice in one side concentration, on the other side insight meditation. Sati, Samadhi, Panya. These three things should be together. Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Without Sati, Samadhi is not successful. These three things should be together. The foundation is very important, mindfulness. We always should be aware of our mind, the present condition of our mind. Then we can understand when negative thoughts come to our mind, we suddenly understand now my mind is go away, now I should come to mindfulness. Then we can overcome sorrowful thoughts from our mind. And finally we keep our attention in metta thoughts. We always keep our attention in metta thoughts, loving kindness thoughts. Then we don't become sorrowful thoughts. We can overcome sorrowful thoughts because of mindfulness, the awareness of our mind. We always should take care of our mind. That is the result of practicing mindfulness. When we focus some flashlight somewhere, We always keep it in our hand. We hold this, we hold this with our hand. We never throw the flashlight. We can focus everywhere, but always the handle of the flashlight is in our hand. Like that, when we practice not only loving kindness thoughts, but even when we practice generosity, we always should do it mindfully. If we are not mindful, sometimes our greed, our self-view, our conceit may increase because of no mindfulness. We should do everything if we are on the path of liberation with mindfulness. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, sometimes some meritorious thoughts increase our mind, but those meritorious thoughts don't help us to go forward on the purification of our mind. That is why we should do everything with mindfulness. Mindfulness is like a best friend. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, we have lost our best friend.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay, you are welcome.
Bhante, we have one question in the chat box.
Yes, please.
How about sleepiness during metta practice?
Yes, sleepiness. They are also very important mindfulness. Everywhere, again and again, we should contemplate on that, whether I have my mindfulness. Okay, sometimes it is common that we fall into sleep, but suddenly we should come back to our meditation object. Okay, sometimes lonely, if we are in sleeping, we can change our posture. When we sit, if we are going to sleep, then we can change our posture and we can practice walking meditation. Even Metta Bhavana, we can practice walking. A lot of meditation techniques can be practiced as a walking meditation. Dhatu Manasikara, contemplation of elements, Marananusati, contemplation of death, Buddhanusati, contemplation of the qualities of the Buddha. These meditation techniques can be practiced while we are walking. From time to time, we can change our meditation posture. Okay? Okay?
Yes, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
And Bhante, another question. So, would it be okay, Bhante, also share the benefit or merits of metta practice, please?
Okay, now you hope to share the merits?
No, so with metta practice, so maybe there are many benefits, like the devas will love us, protect us, we will sleep well, and I just feel like maybe people will be even more encouraged to practice metta.
Yes, actually in the Metta-Nisansa Sutta, Buddha has explained the results of practicing loving kindness meditation. Sukham Supati, we can sleep very peacefully, and also we can awake peacefully. Sukham Paribhujyati, Napapakam Supinam Passati, we don't see bad dreams, and Manushanam Piyohoti, we are pleasant to humans, we are pleasant to non-humans, and the people who practice loving kindness are protected by devas, deva tarakanti. Like this, we can see the visible results And also, when we practice loving kindness thoughts again and again, our aura, our spiritual aura gradually increases, it develops. We can have a protection like a, net. Wherever we go that with that energy, spiritual energy. That helps us to protect our physical body too. Even though sometimes we face some fatal accidents, but mentally we have a safety. We never fall into hell. As the result of this higher spirituality, we can receive a blissful life hereafter. And also we can continue our spiritual path in a blissful life. The real protection is not only for our physical body, but especially for our mind. It means we have insurance, security, safety for our mind, not to fall hell anytime. Not to fall hell in our samsaric journey. This is the highest meritorious deed, actually, as Buddha mentioned in Velama Sutta. If someone can practice loving kindness thoughts at least 1 second, that is more important that we do all other meritorious deeds as dana and sila. That is why practicing loving kindness meditation is highly appreciated by the Supreme Buddha. But the very important thing, we should not stop in loving kindness thoughts. We should develop it as 4 sublime states, and finally we should focus on insight meditation too, through the having concentration meditation techniques. The other thing is the sila, especially Panchasila, also very important. If we have discipline our speech and behavior, it helps us to go forward on this path. Sila helps us to go forward in concentration and insight meditation. And sila helps us to have a blissful life hereafter too. And also, we have a lot of benefits when we practice virtue or moral conduct in this immediate life. Any question? If not, we can conclude our session.
Bhante?
Yes?
I think one of the Dhamma friends, Amina, would like to ask a question.
Yes, please.
Hello. I put my hand down also, but thank you so much for a very, very lovely teaching. It's really beautiful. My question, and really apologies so much because I have to drop out at here it's in London 6:15. I have another commitment, but my question was actually really related to the first question, which was I think for me personally, I generally find Metta a bit of a challenging practice, but the easiest route that I can find into it is actually through compassion, as in engaging with suffering, and that has always left a bit of a question in my mind as to where the line is between metta and compassion as practices, because the most powerful way that I can think to kind of bring some loving qualities to others is engaging with the suffering of life. But then I'm, as I say, a bit confused as to why am I calling it metta when in fact maybe it's just karuna or something like this. And so that's my question. Thank you so much.
Yvonne, can you explain it again, please?
Yes, Bhante. So the sister Amina, she is asking first the difference between compassion and metta.
Yes,
and for her personally, compassion to alleviate people's suffering, and then she so easy can go into the metta practice. So then her second question is, in this way, then it's compassion, it's not metta. So Bhante, please share wisdom.
Yes, actually they are different. Compassion and metta are different. Metta means loving kindness. It means like friendliness. So our heart is common for everyone. We have no barrier with others. We think that we are together. That is the nature of loving kindness. As the result of practicing loving kindness thoughts, when we see something, we have no difference between I and him or her. That is the one of the result of practicing loving kindness. Karuna means, compassion means, we have warm heart. You know, mother, if mother has a child, when mother has loving kindness, when child has some problems, she has warm heart. She wants to take away that child from that suffering. That is the nature of compassion. But the thing is, as a meditation technique, when we practice compassion meditation, we should not become, burnout. That is very important. We always keep our attention with mindfulness. If we can help someone, we are ready to help them. And if we are unable to help them, we wish that may they free from suffering, but we understand that we have a limit. That is very important. In many ways, we have some things, for example, in this Western society, sometimes even though someone is very hungry, we can give some food. We can give only water or money. If we give some food, if they have some problems, we also have some problems. Therefore, first of all, we should be wise and we should be mindful. Then when we help someone, we always should be wise and should be mindful. Then we always take our own refuge, own safety. That is also very important. And the finally, the results come to our mind, not our physical body actually. We develop these positive thoughts, then we change our behavior. For example, if we always practice loving kindness and compassionate thoughts, when we do a job, we always think other people. When we drive, when we go somewhere, when we do any activity, we do everything with a compassionate heart. When we keep away something, when we throw something, we always understand if I do these things, other people may get some problems. That is the nature of compassion. And the highest compassion is that not only giving some food or medicine or shelter, but we always help other people not to fall hell. That is the highest compassion. And also we always do some meritorious deeds and we transfer merits to those who are in the lower realms. That is the highest compassion. And also when someone is close to die, we help them not to fall hell. That is the highest compassion. That is the highest compassion that Bodhisattvas, Buddhas and Arahantas practice. That is why, such as Mahakashyapa, Arhat Mahakashyapa Thero went for begging food on the very poor streets with a compassionate heart. We can practice it physically as our practical life. Okay? Metta thought means we have very soft heart. We have no barrier with others. We break the boundaries, barriers. We break the Sima Sambandha, according to Pali language. Sima Sambeda, we break the Sima Sambeda. Sima means limits. We have no limits. We see all over the world like our family or like our children. The compassion means that we have warm heart when other people are suffering, but we should not worry. We wish others success, and also we are ready to help them. If we are unable to help them, then we become equanimity too. Always we should take care of our mind. Our mind is the most important thing. We do everything for our inner peace. When we practice meditation, we always use everything with mindfulness. Then we can practice all the qualities not to get in, burnout because of our mindfulness. And mudita means, the other quality is mudita. Mudita means when other people are successful, we are not jealous. Mudita means the opposite of jealousy. And equanimity means balanced mind. We become equanimity. When we see this reality, in one side we are happy other people are successful, and also we are compassionate when other people are suffering. Finally we understand the nature of this life is that karma, the karmic energy. When we see the karmic law, we become equanimity. We make a balanced mind. That is the highest thing, it is very important on the on the mundane level path and on the supramundane path. Finally we come to equanimity. In the mundane level, as the practicing for sublime states, finally we become equanimity. And also when we see the reality, impermanence, ultimately we become sankhara upekha jnana. When we see the nature of the phenomena or the five aggregates, then as the result of practicing insight meditation, we become equanimity. In the mundane level equanimity, we depends on ignorance. But the supramundane level equanimity, we overcome ignorance too. That is the difference. Even though we become the Brahma realm, even though we have a equanimity mind in the Brahma realm, but still we are ignorant because of no understanding of the divine origination and the Four Noble Truths. But when we practice the qualities, the Eightfold Path, Noble Eightfold Path, with the understanding of the divine origination, finally we overcome ignorance or delusion when we become the equanimity. That is the difference. It is clear?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
And then we also have our dear friend Zaivi. I hope I pronounced your name properly. Welcome.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. It's Sadie. I know we're short on time, and this might be a big question, so I'm going to try to make it specific. First of all, thank you for this time today. It really helped to bring some peace and tranquility. I find the most peaceful time I have in my life is my time on my cushion. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit, your Bhikkhu, on taking what we've learned and applying it in real life, and specifically as it relates to karuna. I find I struggle with that because I know we live in a society where there are unfair hiring practices for those of us who are non-white. And when I'm at work, I see people getting promoted and getting better positions, and maybe I should not be attached to having a better job, but I find it hard to practice karuna when I feel, because of some systemic challenges, the way people hire in our country historically, that it's hard to be happy for folks who you're like, you went after the same job and they are white, so there tends to be privilege there. I guess maybe you can give a few words on how to help wrestle with karuna, especially in a world of injustice that I think many of us, as it relates to just our livelihood, it probably experience on this call. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Yvonne, please explain something to more information.
Yes, Sunday. So this dear friend, her question is related to karuna.
Yes.
So in our life, Sunday we find so many unfair situations. And sometimes our mind feels not treated. We are not treated equally. So how can we apply karuna, compassion, please, Sunday?
Yes, actually that is a very practical question in the current situation. Actually, not only we can do cannot do some help some people, but even close relatives also are unable to do some help at this moment. When we help others at this moment, we should do everything wisely. That is very important. We always have to follow some rules, medical rules and regulations at this moment. And also here we can understand from time to time in the world there are some problems. That is nature. Some diseases, some wars, some disasters, some accidents. That is the nature of the world. Actually, we can control some situations, but sometimes some doctors and some medical fields people, they can control something. At that time, we can help them. We are unable to help directly, but we can help other people like nurses, doctors. We can help them. We can take care of their children at this moment. Even though we are unable to go to hospitals and see some patient, but we can take care of children of nurses and doctors at the moment.
Sunday. So, like, how about, for example, like at work? So maybe one person is favored, and then the other person, they are not being treated fairly. So sometimes, like the boss, they like one person over another. And we feel like, oh, I am not being treated nicely. So sometimes how how we should do.
Yes, if we are in the medical field, we can help wisely with a compassionate heart. If someone is more needs something, we can give the priority for them. You know, if we are not there, we can control them. You know, if we are doctors or nurses, if we are there, we can directly help them. We can do something wisely at the moment. We can away from bias. That is very important at this moment. If someone is needed some more help, we should give the priority to them. We should sacrifice something at this moment. That is the nature of compassion. You know, as a mother, when her child is hungry, even though mother is more hungry, at that moment she sacrifices that thing on behalf of her own child. Like that, if we practice loving kindness, when we work at this field, you know, sometimes we sacrifice our happiness for other happiness. That is the nature of the practice of this pattern. That is the nature of the concept of bodhisattvas. Atta sukha parichaga. You know, bodhisattvas give up their own happiness for others' happiness. That is the thing that we should practice it in the practical life. The reason is that we are going in the samsaric circle. This is very long journey. Our life doesn't, you know, end in this immediate life. We have another life. Even though we do some sacrifices, we see the results in our samsaric journey. Thinking thus, we can help others. And also, the most important thing, whatever we do, we should do everything wisely and mindfully. That is very important. Our life is more important. If we can save our life, we can help more people with the Dhamma. That is very important. You know, someone can offer a kidney to someone. That's good. That is a bodhisattva concept. But if someone can protect more than 100 kidneys for others, giving some pure water, some filters, some medicine, actually that is more important than donating a kidney. You know, sometimes a person can donate a kidney or his own kidney to someone who is needed in a kidney. But if someone is more wise, he can protect, he can cure more than 100 kidneys for others. That is more important. That is the thing that we do here. And also, the most help is that the gift of Dhamma. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. Then, when we practice Dhamma, you know, we mostly try to help others, not only some, you know, normal material things, but with the Dhamma. That is the highest gift. However, we are always compassionate with these situations. We always try to do something for others. We don't give up these things, but we do everything meaningfully. That is the very important thing.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay, you are welcome.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, you are blessed by the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. I think now we have come to the end. Okay, thank you for your participation. If you have any questions, please write down them and please ask again. Then next time when we meet, we will discuss those questions too again. Okay, with that intention, now we are going to end this meditation session. By the power of all this spiritual energy we acquired here, may all beings in the world receive this spiritual energy, develop their spirituality by this spirituality, and finally they receive a blissful life and ultimately they attain the final bliss of liberation, Nibbana. With that understanding, let's say, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Dukkhaṃ pantāca niddukkha, bhayaṃ pantāca nibbhaya, sokaṃ pantāca nissoka, hanto sabbe pipānino. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.